Hey everybody, welcome to Ukraine Update here on the Shills on a day when I barely know what's going on. I am a snowball rolling down a hill and the confusion and confuddle is just getting bigger. So I'm going to turn it right over to Yana here, who's going to introduce you to somebody very cool, and then we're going to get started and see where the confusion takes us.
Yeah, guys, so this is Olia. She is, where's her box? Over there. Yeah, I think. I don't know which way.
You did it. You did it. You did it.
This,
yeah.
Whatever, whichever way it went, that way. I have to look at the screen and then figure it out. Okay, so Olia is originally from Uman in Ukraine, but she has lived in South Africa for
5 years.
how long? 5 years. 5 years. And I met her through the Ukrainian Association, and she's part of the executive committee there. And she's also like one of my best friends, even though we live like 1,200 kilometers apart. We're literally like DM each other like every day, like, hey, did you see this? And then, yeah. And then we have like random 2-hour phone calls. But yeah, she's awesome. So glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite.
Oh, we're glad to have you here. And don't hesitate. Don't, just jump on in and enjoy yourself. Have fun, We've also got Secular Sakai with us today from Tridents Against Tyrants. I did that at least. And we've got Slavi joining us as well today. Hello, hello. We've got Commander McMillan giving us some insight, and I'm sure the dogs are going to sneak onto the stream somehow. We've got, as you've just heard from Yana here. We've got our guest Olia here, and we've got Greg Terry in the house. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, Dick. Thank you. Nice to see all of you guys. As always, Secular Sakai, Slavi, Commander McMillan, Yana, who's a huge help for me, by the way. And Очень приятно Olga. Her home city of Uman is one of my stopover cities. I have a little place I stay right beside the Central Lake in Uman. I love that city very much. Uman, by the way, is a historical city in Ukraine based on a lot of Judaism. And it's a holy place inside Ukraine, her home city of Uman, and it's a beautiful place. So welcome, Olga.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Awesome. Good knowledge. Good knowledge. Greg always does that. He just comes in out of the blue and goes, well,
I stay in Uman. I know it very, very well. It's right on my route. So I like it a lot.
So this week's happenings, let's start with any of the good, Greg. Where are you at? How you feeling? What's on your mind?
I feel great. I've had some graduations to go to today. A lot of high school kids graduated, so I've went to some of those. Also, there's a kids summer camp outreach kind of summer camp thing that my wife does with this. It's massive next week, so I was helping them set up some of that stuff technically. Mailing out flags. We had an incredible flag giveaway last night that went right down to the wire for Kepi Blankfella. And so once the raffle happens, a free ticket, and it spins, and I put them on a 2-minute clock because you have to be in the stream to win it. Mm-hmm. And it was counting down, and the anticipation was building, and with 10 seconds to go, Kepi Blankfella said, I'm here. And so it was a lot of fun. So
wow,
we're doing that. And I've started the process of getting the shorts out. Well, not shorts. Professor Gertis called me and says, you're not putting shorts out, dummy. I'm not. He goes, no, you're putting out smaller videos that are like 5 minutes that people can share. A short is those. This is how Professor Gertis and I talk. those shorts are those dumb ones where the phone's up wrong way. So that's what he said. So you're actually putting out a 5-minute video that is easier for people to share. Don't call them shorts anymore. I said, so working on that. Should have one coming out actually in a few hours after the stream today. Also preparing because tomorrow I'm actually speaking at my church. I will post it in my community post. I'll give you the link. So if you want to come watch it tomorrow, in our Christian church, I'm going to be preaching about propaganda. How about that?
I wasn't going to say it, so glad you did.
I'll be honest, Greg. I don't go to church, and I really want to hear one of your sermons.
So
The guy named Secular Sakai doesn't go to church. What a shocker!
Okay, let me just say, Christians can be secular too. I've known.
Yeah. No problem there. But we're going to talk about. Listen, I don't want to hijack your program here, but we're actually going to talk about one story in the Old Testament, and I'll give you a little peek preview right now. I'm writing it, where the 3 little Hebrew boys had to bow down when the music would play to the golden statue of Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, that's the story. But what's interesting is you were supposed to bow down when you hear the music. Okay, so basically the correlation is not about music, but about all the things that we hear in this world that we just bow down to them. And if you hear it enough, you'll begin to believe it more and more and more. For example, Russian propaganda. For example, whatever media sources you fill your life with, eventually you will believe it. Eventually. And so it's going to be pretty cool. So there you go.
Cool, man. Cool. Yeah, I drop in on Sundays and check out the live stream from the church every week.
He messages me and says, I'm sipping my coffee and listening to you belt it out, dude. So
yeah, there's some good jamming tunes on there. It's nice.
I mean, the only difference, Dick, between your music and ours is we do not put up pictures of the devil in the Kremlin with flames coming out of his eyes. But other than that, everything's the same between my church and yours.
Oh, that's funny.
Greg Watkins is Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Yes, that's their official name, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. But actually, their real names are My Shack, Your Shack, and a Bungalow. But that's okay. I'll drop that on you tomorrow. So just hang on.
That's funny, man. Oh, that's funny. So we should probably, hit the topic of the show. I wanted to open with thoughts on world leaders more and more being open to Ukraine using the arms as they need to. And then this whole thing with the Cuban Missile Crisis 2.0 going off at the same time, right? So let's start with Commander. What do you think, buddy?
I think the relaxation of restrictions on weapons isn't surprising. A lot of countries tend to follow one another's lead. So you get anybody who starts by saying, yeah, we're going to allow the Ukrainians to use our long-range weapons inside Russia, but only within these parameters. And somebody else will say, well, we will do the same, but we're going to relax it even further. And now you can extend it beyond this little region, or you can use these different kinds of weapons. And it escalates to the point where everybody is kind of in agreement that, yeah, do with our weapons what you want. It takes time. Nobody wants to be the first person to do it because they're afraid it will cause some sort of adverse reaction, either domestically or from the Russian side of their alliance and such. Yeah. So I think that's critical. The whole Cuban Missile Crisis 2.0 thing, I think, is
headlines.
Yeah, it's headlines. It's blown out of proportion because the Russians have sent nuclear-equipped subs into that region in the past, and nobody noted it. So all it is right now, with the bluster that's coming out of the mouth of Pooters and this occurring at the same time, they're trying to, generate excitement and fear and so advertising.
To be honest, I'd be more concerned if there were Chinese military vessels all around Cuba.
Yes.
That's a good point. Let's turn to our guest, Olia. What do you think about, first of all, people getting more relaxed with, go and hit them hard, and with the whole show of force from Vladimir Putler himself?
I don't listen to him. Most of the times, or basically never, because I don't think that he has anything to say which is worth attention. That's first. And about relaxation of the restrictions, I feel like this is long overdue. and there's more fear from the inside of the Western political leadership than it actually exists around the world. Like it's not worth fearing as much. And we learned from Vladimir Putin that basically whatever he says, what was the joke that ChatGPT wrote, that Vladimir Putin always carries the red pencil with him to draw another red line, right? Basically, that's what it is. Like you keep on moving that line.
This is my impersonation of the whole Putler machine in the background doing the propaganda and whatnot. We've got a new gag here. You're gonna love this. Oh man, Greg, what do you think on this one?
I would agree on the Cuban Missile Crisis. My grandfather was in the Cuban Missile Crisis. He was on the tin can with the famous picture there when the sub rose out of the water and our troops were standing on the bow of the ship, our naval guys. And my grandfather was actually in that famous picture, and he was talking to the Russians that poked their head up out of the sub. So no, this is not even close. That's just a headline grabber.
Yeah,
that's nothing. But the deal with Ukraine right now is I do have thoughts about it, and my thoughts are the world is finally recognizing that there are 550,000 Russian soldiers inside of Ukraine right now. That is the latest number, and it is 100% accurate. There is also a substantial buildup, not enough to do massive damage, but enough to cause problems in Sumy and Kharkiv. The glide bombs are out of control. The F-16s are delayed. They will not be there before the end of September, and it's not going to even happen then, maybe by December the first 12. But we already told everybody for 6 months that was going to happen. It's just people run with Twitter and Tweeter and all this other upright videos on cell phones that are wrong.
Can I interject something right now, Greg?
Please do, Commander, always.
It fits directly with your F-16 comment. I recently saw an analysis by a guy who had interviewed a number of the people that are training the Ukrainian pilots in the F-16s. And he said, this is not going to be the giant panacea that everybody seems to think it's going to be. One of the big problems is that the people that are transitioning to the F-16 are ones who are already well-qualified veteran pilots in old MiGs and Sukhoi aircraft. And I'm going to use a term that may seem a little odd. So let's call the Soviet doctrine, it's Russian, but both sides use what is essentially Soviet air doctrine, is distinctly different than that used by NATO or the US. And the aircraft they grew up on, all these combat veteran pilots, excellent guys, was that old Soviet doctrine. And transitioning to the new doctrine is proving to be extremely difficult for them to do, because the Soviet air doctrine was largely ground controlled. Some guy in a radar band is going to be telling the pilot exactly what to do. Turn to this heading, fire the missile when you get to this range, that kind of stuff. Western doctrine is completely different. It's, you're on your own, dude. We'll give you advice about where targets may be, but how you maneuver to get there is different. And this is important because the aircraft themselves are configured to accommodate those two different doctrines.
That makes sense.
So, right. So the Soviet doctrine in a Soviet style plane is different than a Western one, because the equipment for individual operations, it takes time and conditioning to learn how to operate that equipment to full effect. They're still operating largely under that old Soviet doctrine, which is going to make it harder for them to become fully efficient. Now, over time, once they're flying these things in combat, they'll learn, but there's going to be a learning curve.
We agree 1,000,000%. But this is what we've been sharing since January. We already knew it because we were talking to guys on the ground, but nobody wants to believe a lot of those things, because we hope, and which is rightfully so. We hope, okay, April, May. But the reality is, these skilled Soviet trained pilots because it is on Soviet aircraft. Commander McMillan is 1,000,000% right. Plus, it's a completely different system. A couple of the first and best pilots that Ukraine actually had actually couldn't pass the certification for the F-16. They had to start over again. So what they're learning is they're better off to take new recruits and teach them only on the F-16, where they have no understanding of the MiG or the SU, and that is a part of the reason for the delay. The other reason is it's just the world's been not really getting the complete truth on how long it takes to prepare a squadron. And, you want to have it in, I'll go to you in a second, Jan. You want to have it in 6 months and you want to have this, but guys, we just think of an airplane and a pilot.
Yeah, this is not just training a pilot. You're training ground crew. You're training ground crew.
Complete infrastructure.
Direction center.
On an American airplane.
There's a reason why so much money and planning and both strategy and tactics go into the United States Air Force. So
my point being is, with the news of the F-16 now going a little bit more public, thankfully, Macron is beginning to step up and become the face of the West. We had Boris Johnson, and now Macron's doing a good job and giving the proper rhetoric that is needed. But, we got 5 Mirage 2000s coming, which are solid planes, but they still will not be there for December of 2024, early 2025, to be quite honest.
You can't just tow those down the street and drop them off, right?
Correct. So we have those things coming. We have Western nations approving strikes at certain targets inside Russia. I personally believe that all of these things are calculated responses to trying to avoid the war in escalation further and to stem the tide and begin to push Russia back. And this is the strategy that we have to work with now, due to the delay in weapons that happened specifically coming out of the United States, that really put us in a negative hole. And now we're literally having to play catch up. And in some areas we are catching up. In other areas we're still working at it. But when it comes down to it, this war is not going to depend on F-16s. This war is not going to depend on Ukrainian mobilization. This war is not going to depend on Patriots or air defense. I'll make the prediction right now, June the 8th, 2024. This war will be determined by Ukraine's ability to protect its electrical grid. That's what the war is going to come down to, because right now factories cannot even run. Air conditions are having to be shut down. That was led yesterday by Denis Shmyhal, the Prime Minister of Ukraine, who said point blank, all government buildings are forbidden. We're actually sealing them up, and we're going to lead by example. We're asking homeowners, we're asking businesses and restaurants so that we can have the air conditioning where we need it. For example, hospitals.
Yes.
And this is where we are at. Ukraine's infrastructure is 2 years from being put into place where it could even get back to fairly decent operating condition. This is not negativity. This is reality. So the reality is they're struggling for juice. We're witnessing it with Rick the Ukrainian, guys.
Totally. Okay, I was just going to say that, right?
We're witnessing it with Pete. We're witnessing it with Zhenya. Zhenya has about 9 hours of power a day. That's it. And this is where we're at. So we'll keep our eyes on that. And yes, air defense, F-16s, all of that will help to defend those power grid and the infrastructure places, but many of them are severely damaged at this point, if not destroyed.
Greg, I have a question.
Well, wait, one sec. We were turning to Yana first there. Sorry, dude.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so I was actually on the aid thing and Western nations providing aid. Remember, Macron also said the thing about putting, French trainers in Ukraine. And there was quite Russia wasn't so happy about that.
That's right.
So they released a very, very poor video, poorly produced video on this guy, apparently a French soldier in Ukraine, but wearing the Russian uniform. But anyway, French soldier in Ukraine who was captured, and he's apparently speaking French. I didn't even watch the video, but the accent was, one of my friends sent it to me and he was like, this accent is terrible. And the Russian embassy here in South Africa is like ground zero for spreading every single bad Russian propaganda take ever.
Right.
And then the French embassy replied to them 2 days ago and told them, colleagues, you have been spreading fake news for some time, and we are now used to this rather undiplomatic practice. However, this one is particularly ridiculous. We suggest your actors work on their accent with some French classes as Alliance Française, and posted the link to Alliance Française, which is a place here like run by. It's just like brilliant, and I'm like, this is cool. I've gone to events hosted by the embassy, by the French embassy, and I'm like, I like you guys even more now.
Yeah.
and they were up and down videos. That's the other thing.
But they were, on top of that, there were 3 coffins that were placed like right near the Eiffel Tower, and like no one was in those coffins, but it was like in the French flag and like this is French soldiers in Ukraine kind of thing. And I saw just, I think earlier today, they said like, no, 3 Moldovan guys were arrested for that. And one of my friends, like this French friend of mine, was like, I guess Russia is not happy with our president right now. Yeah.
I don't know if we're still live out there. It looked like OBS had just crashed on me, so I hope we're live. Let me know, everybody.
I just came back. I'm checking on that now.
Starsky just joined us, but I'm having a problem adding him to the show because the whole thing seems to be crashing, and I have no idea what's going on here. Okay.
Yeah, my YouTube feed shows you frozen.
Mine shows you're rolling just fine. The problem is your video's up and down.
Damn vertical video.
No, you're good, man. You're cooking here. No problem.
Yeah, you're still on live on my phone.
Okay. I'm not able to. Okay, you guys go ahead. I'll try to solve this. Sorry, Starsky. 1 second here, buddy.
Good to see you,
But
Starsky.
I also know, I don't know if you want to tell the story about you in a Twitter space about the F-16s.
What was that?
So there was a guy. You can't remember. Okay. So Olia got into a little argument on Twitter with
what was his name? The American general, the one that is based in Europe right now.
Yeah.
He was basically telling me that Ukraine cannot keep on asking for the support because NATO doesn't owe them anything, and Western world is not supposed to be supplying Ukrainian army as well.
We lost Olia.
Oh no. Okay.
You're back. You're back.
Okay, good.
We lost you at Western world is not supposed to be supplying Ukraine, and then you cut off.
Oh, okay. So basically he was saying that Western countries are not supposed to be maintaining and supplying Ukrainian army. And since Ukraine is not in NATO, we cannot demand any support. And basically that, and I was like, yeah, but you didn't allow us to enter NATO, didn't you? And then he went into the whole rant trying to explain to me how I don't know my country. And I was like, dude, please, come on. West-planning, we all learned very well, but let's not do that. And he wasn't very happy with me, so he left the space after that.
Yeah, but it was quite interesting having Olia argue with like a senior guy, just telling him like, don't explain my country to me.
I bet. Okay, I've almost got this. I've almost got it. Go ahead, guys. Go ahead.
I was going to say, let's be fair. There's some truth to the statement. NATO is under no obligation to support Ukraine. All those countries that are doing it voluntarily because they think it's the right thing. There's no treaty that requires them to do it. That, in my mind, speaks far more about the moral implications of this conflict than honoring a treaty obligation.
think the problem here is these people, they look at Ukraine as a charity case when they need to
which it's not.
Exactly, when they need to start believing in that Ukraine is fighting for the whole world, basically, the whole free world.
Yeah,
but to use a parallel, what if Western countries, generally speaking, had supported Ethiopia when Italy invaded back in the 30s, or had backed the legitimate Spanish Republican government during the Civil War? How would that have changed things? Arguably, that might have had a profound impact enough to not even cause or have World War II break out. But the namby-pamby, we're not going to interfere, et cetera, look where it led. So I would contend that, we're exactly in the same kind of moral quandary right here of you do what's right because it's in your own best interests.
Yeah. We should have Starsky in now. You there, buddy?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. You're coming through good, pal. How's it going?
Fine. Thank you so much. So cool to see you guys.
You too, buddy. You too. So let's see here. You're not in your little hexagon, but everything just broke on me. So I'll try to fix it in the background, but you're here and we can hear you and we can see you. We're all good.
It's fine. I mean, I don't think that our viewers missed my ugly mug so much. So
the ladies are disagreeing right now, buddy.
I'm completely fine with just, like being a narrator's voice. Behind the screen.
Dude, fashion consultants the world over are complaining that we can't see you right now.
I'll be like, on those National Geographic's movie. In the middle of the jungle, you can see these two beautiful species doing their mating dance.
It's like Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom from back in the day, man.
Yeah, absolutely. These days, I've been watching a lot of different documentaries about. Oh my God, the most recent one I saw was on Inca Empire.
Oh, cool.
And, they had this interesting habit of selecting beautiful virgin girls and then sending them to the mountains and sacrificing them to the god of sun.
What a waste.
It's crazy.
Anyone who knows about just in general Central American mythology and ancient religion, it gets trippy as hell.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other day I talked to ChatGPT, and I was like, okay, on one hand they had invasion of Spanish conquistadors. On the other hand, they had a bunch of different cultures sacrificing people. What do you think about it? Was it justified? And the ChatGPT said that no, it wasn't.
At least it got something right.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on the week's action? More political people coming out to say Ukraine can strike over the border and into Russian territory and stuff. I know it's way too little too late, but it's finally a step, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, and we can already see a lot of results in the area of Kharkiv. We can see results in Chasiv Yar as well. In Chasiv Yar, the situation is very, very difficult. Our guys report that Russians had some tactical success, but today they already reported that Russians moved in and took control over. We cannot call it a high rise in Chasiv Yar because, a building as tall as 5 stories can be considered high rise in Chasiv Yar. It's a very small town. But they reported that Russian moved there and took control over the house, and then our guys cut them from their troops, and basically now they're eliminating them. So the situation is very, very dynamic there. Again, Chasiv Yar was already pretty much ruined back in 2023 in in August, September, when we were there. Currently, this town almost doesn't exist. There's just a lot of ruins. But the situation is dynamic, and the very fact that our guys have long-weighted munitions, and they can strike Russians not only like there at the front line, but also in the operative rear, 20, 50, 70 kilometers in the rear. It's very, very good. There is already information from, I don't really like to quote Bloomberg, but sometimes Bloomberg has, information from different sources, like experts that study war in the strategy Institute for Strategy Studies, and those guys are legit, and they basically say that arrival of weaponry to Eastern Front, especially in the area of Kharkiv, already brought big results. In Kharkiv, the Russian offensive is failing big time because our guys already have quite a few shells that they can use against Russian invaders. And at the same time, our guys there in the Kharkiv direction, they report that they have never seen so many HIMARS shells in their lives. So they have what to work with. Currently, Putin, also known around the world as Huilo, is very, very mad because of this fact. If this dynamic continues, if this tendency continues, then he will miss a chance to provide enough men to not men, but other measures. They have enough men. Let's admit this fact. But but plenty of their advanced vehicles were already destroyed, and it will take many years for them to rebuild this amount. So we have, I would say, some success in this area. If this tendency continues, then they will miss the chance to take control over Kharkiv, and this will give Ukrainian army chance to strike back. Which I think is very important, and I'm looking forward to see this happening.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah.
There was an article in Bloomberg that said Putin is running out of time to achieve a breakthrough in Ukraine. I'm happy that the media is slowly changing their narrative from Ukraine can't win to now Putin is running out of time.
Yes. At the same time, I would say the narrative that Ukraine cannot win was also important because it motivated. I would say it motivated in a way people to make decisions, and it was really important to tell them that, guys, if you don't support Ukraine with weaponry, there is a chance that Ukraine can lose this war. And if Ukraine loses this war, then in the nearest future, you will face not only Russian army, but also Russia-controlled Ukrainian army that has amazing experience with using American tactics, Western weaponry, and this is something you really don't want to face, right? So those messages, even though they were demoralizing and demotivating on one hand, but on the other hand, I think they raised awareness and brought a lot of public attention to this problem. So that was useful as well. Sometimes what my bro Secular Sakai wants to say, sometimes bad truth is better than propaganda, sweet lies, and shit like that. Not sometimes, like usually it is, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And also, that's not even like, if you think about it, if you think about a worst case alternate universe where Russia, they already have control of Belarus. Imagine an alternative world where Yanukovych and his cronies had handed over Ukraine and you had all of that under Russia's control. You have to have people be aware of the fact that sometimes, like Dick said earlier, doing what's right, it's in everyone's best interest.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree on that. And Russia taking control over territories is actually a very, very bad thing because, okay, let's compare Western approach and Russian approach, right? So what countries were, let's say, controlled, right, by Western countries after the World War II? Germany. Look at the Germany today. I saw Germany today. I had such chance. I like what I see, right? People with good salaries, people that can afford good quality of life. Japan. Okay, Japan was completely rebuilt according to the Marshall's Plan. As far as I remember, it was completely rebuilt. And when we're talking about Japan, we're talking about quality. We're talking about world's producers of high tech JVC and things like that. Then let's talk about the territories that were captured or controlled by Russia. Okay, Eastern Germany, Stasi, and all the communist shit. South Ossetia taken by Russians from Georgia, and South Ossetia looks like freaking Somalia right now. Abkhazia, that in the Soviet times, Abkhazia was like, oh my God, like Miami in the Soviet Union. It was really like a Miami where people would go and spend time on a beach with their families, with pleasure. It looked like Las Vegas. Now, I think if you're not too lazy and if you Google Abkhazia nowadays, you will be freaking shocked because it looks like Pripyat in Chernobyl. This place is freaking abandoned by human race.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, places like so-called DPR, LPR, that were annexed by Russia in 2014. You can basically see what's happening there. Putin, in his recent speech, where he lost his marbles and started like shouting at Western journalists. He admitted that these two areas on the territory of Ukraine, were degrading. They were deteriorating for 8 years dramatically. And it's despite the fact that they were basically controlled by Russia. So I don't envy any country that became or becomes part of Russia, because it's something you really don't want. It's something very, very bad.
Well, look at the quality of life in all the former Warsaw Pact and the Baltic states, occupied territories under Russia today, as opposed to inside Mother Russia today, where stealing toilets from the war zone is considered, wow, high loot. That's all you need to know about how the two factions view life for the average citizen.
And another thing I'll add on top of this, I think, well, not the worst part, but an annoying part of all of this is when you see nations like Russia or other aligned countries, and you talk about this economic disparity, this difference, it always just comes down to blaming, oh, but there's a monopoly, or the West have access to all the best trade deals, or they've laid a foundation.
But what about America?
Yeah, exactly. Just but what about whataboutism? What about America? What about all the stuff they do? That's it. It's just deflect. Never admit to anything wrong. Just point at everyone else's problems.
Yeah, it's that
the
whole if
formula.
my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle thing. You know, it's all
exactly.
So I'm going to do a few shout outs here, and then we have a video we're going to play that Yana is going to introduce for us, and big kickoffs coming up here. So Dunk on You 23 came in with a super chat there, and it's a good one too. Slava Ukraini, have a good stream. Heroium Slava. We've got Dunk on You 23 again, gifting out 5 Shills memberships. I love the gifted memberships very much, not just because it shows love for the channel, but as you know, whoever is the last gifted member out there, you get the bar tab. Send in your address and I'll make sure you get the bill. We've got Petra Olson sending in a really nice super chat there with love to Ukraine. I love it. I love it. We've got... Yes.
That is her no smoking donation.
Oh, that's right. That's Mrs. She's doing far
Quitting
better than me
smoking to
because
support
she's
Ukraine.
doing it, and
That's
I
right. Just wanted you to remember. There you go, buddy.
yeah. Can you feel his hand on my back, rubbing it in? Can you feel that? I do. Is it just me? Is it?
I'm
just
not
me?
rubbing your back. I'm braiding your hair. Let's go.
Either way, it's very sensual. We got man of the
I'm preaching tomorrow at church. Stop it, Dick. Stop it.
Anything for a gag. I don't care. It's all free game. We got Man of the Wood coming in with a member message. Russian pedal boats were spotted near Cuba. I love those ones. Oh, that's funny. SSW Custom Sewing comes in with one. Please text Slavi's new short on the Shills to people. That short has been community posted on our channel. Go and check it out. She is a proper video creator. Total skills. Loving it. You got a lot of fans on the show now, too. So let's get Slavi's link in the chat and get people over to sub. Paul Gilbert came in with a super chat for stuff because I believe in Ukraine. I love it. Why did I do a redneck voice for that? Sorry. KP came in with a super chat. Run-of-the-river hydropower, a facility that channels flowing water from a river through a canal or a penstock to spin a turbine. Typically, a run-of-the-river project will have little to no storage facility. I've seen some of these built on YouTube where somebody uses some pipes, gets a little river, turns it into real pressure and spin. Oh, yeah. That's a good shout. Ariel came in with a $20 super chat there, actually euros. Pair character dancing under the rain of confetti and taking his hat off. Oh, okay, right. So I got to act this out. I always do this stuff. You're amazing. And that's what it did. Thank you, Ariel. And then we got Linda H with a direct donation in for nothing less than $33. Illuminati half confirmed. And it was a For the Boom Boom Fun. We got CF gifting out Shills memberships, more potentials to pay the bar tab. I'm loving it. Thanks, CF. And then we got Mertzy coming in with a member message here, which is simply Slava Ukraine.
Heroium Slava.
Well done. So, Yena's going to give us a little intro to a video we're going to show you here because shit be going off.
Yeah. So we have started a new fundraiser at Project Constantine for $400,000 US. And I'm like, okay.
Wow.
So Helena and I were like we were very stressed, and Peter's like, but this is equipment that's necessary. The 67th is starting a new drone battalion, and these guys have 7 cars. Most of them are civilian vehicles. Like, I'm going to post a video later this week where the guy literally, they literally pack 5 guys into a damn Lada and go to the front. Okay? that is the state of what these guys have because they don't have anything else.
Wow.
So yeah, so that video will be posted in a few days' time as well. Just so that you guys understand what these guys are going through, you know?
A ladder.
Yeah. And they load that with their drone equipment, with their backup batteries, with everything, and five guys in the car as well. Just whoops, off to your location you go.
Wow.
Yeah, because we don't have vehicles. So we are fundraising for basically half of what they actually need. We're just covering half of it because we were like, we need to get like at least the bare minimum.
Yeah.
So yeah, with that said, I will post the link to the. Okay, you can play the video, and then I will post the
All
link
right.
to like the direct campaign donation there because it's different than our usual donations.
Okay.
Than our
And-
usual campaign link.
And you said that's 400,000 in dollars or in hryvnia?
US dollars.
US dollars? Okay. Yeah. That makes
Yeah.
more sense. Yeah.
All right, so let's play this up. We should have the audio working. I just sorted out Rick's, so I hope mine works.
Dobry den, everybody. This is Pete from Project Constantine. I am a medic in the Armed Forces of Ukraine. I am also with 67 Brigade. I am a soldier and a medic. Here behind me today are the new defense of Ukraine. These guys are the tip of the spear. These guys and girls are the tip of the spear. What I mean by that is we have a new drone battalion. The West has been drip feeding us ammunition for so long that we've had to invent new ways of defending Ukraine. That solution comes in the name of drones, in the shape of drones. This new battalion currently numbers 140 people. It is going up to 400 people very soon in the next couple of weeks. At the moment, they've got 2 Starlinks and 7 vehicles for a new battalion. Project Constantine is here today on their behalf to appeal for your help in a big fundraiser. Project Constantine has launched it. It's called Project Tatiana, aka Project 22, because we have 22 positions that we need to equip. We need 22 drones, 22 Starlinks, 22 vehicles, 22 EcoFlows, 22 drone jammers, and everybody's here today with me because we need to appeal for your help. Ukraine is being crushed by genocide. It needs to stop. Help us to destroy enemy tanks like this with our drone pilots here. We need your help. It's a big fundraiser. Please donate $2, $22, $222, or $2,222. Everything that we raise is going to be published on our website. Everything that we spend is going to be documented with receipts published on our website. It is a big push, but we have to do it because we are on the front lines defending against Russian genocide. Help us in our push for freedom, help us to keep ourselves alive, help us to keep Ukraine sovereign, and help us to defeat these evil Russian scum. I've got a friend next to me. We've been together for over a year and a half. Him and Tatiana and myself were working together in the forests of Crimea. His name is Shum and he wants to say a few words in Ukrainian.
Допоможіть нам захистити вас та наші родини від ворожої навали. Help us to protect you and us from Russian підараси. Слава Україні!
Героям слава!
I just want to say, Pete wore the mic. Okay.
I know.
And he was screaming because he thought he still had to scream. And we were making fun of him about it because he was like, no, but the phone's over there. And he's like, wearing the mic here. But Helena and I have actually also just decided that he's just making fun, pretending not to understand technology.
Yeah.
That's what we've also decided.
Oh,
But I know someone in chat asked, Merlin Puppy asked, was that me? No.
Whoa, that was loud. Okay.
So Merlin Puppy asked where Pete is now. What I can tell you is at the moment he is 200 meters away from the Russians.
Pete sent me a video of where they're staying right now, And all I can say is you are very happy that you are not staying there right now. Holy fuck.
Yeah. So about 200 meters from the Russians is where he's at the moment.
I want to put in here as well, every dollar raised today in our direct donations for the Boom Boom Fund, as well as through Super Chats, are going straight into this fundraiser.
Oh, and I want to
Thank
add
you so
on to
much.
it, as always, major respect to Pete and everyone else who's working with and serving with him. And also major respect in general to Project Constantine for naming the project Project Tatiana.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. You got to give a shout for that. So yeah, let's see what we can do about some donations here, fellow babies. I know the crew around here, and you know, it's powerful. We can do it, right? Let's get some in.
And it was really awesome, like, because I posted the campaign and everything, and like we already got donations, and
Nice.
thank you to everyone who's already donated. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Big shouts, big shouts. Cool. We've also got a second NAFO thing coming up that we're going to be doing. It's about to kick off. I don't know when. I'm letting everybody else deal with it from the Portuguese battalion of the NAFO 69 Sniffing Brigade, because they're far better at this than I am. And but there was talk about what the Shills patch should be this time, and we were thinking that we should use the goat.
Do it.
Right? What do you guys think there? You know, should we put the goat on the patch this time? I think it's the ultimate idea.
Kadirovites might get a bit excited when they see that, but
My vote was for the baby Starsky.
Oh,
but I like the goat.
I was thinking.
Hey. Oh, you know what? We haven't done any of the old stingers in a while. So why don't we where are they here? Why don't we hit the baby Starsky stinger, just because it's been a while and it's really cute. Well, I don't know if cute the word was the right word.
And the funniest thing was that the baby doesn't really look like me when I was a small kid.
No,
because I was extremely cute, and everybody liked me, especially like grandmas. Like when we're going somewhere in a bus, and there's like a grandma, and I start like smiling and stuff. So I literally ate hearts. I literally ate hearts every single day.
I mean,
and I had much more hair, of course.
I mean, I literally ate hearts too, but they're usually chicken hearts with my grandpa.
Those are not bad.
I actually have a question for Slavi, because I haven't had a chance to watch the video on your channel yet. So now I'm like, but it's the one where you said OpenAI stops Russia from using their tech to spread propaganda.
That was a good one.
So I haven't watched it yet, but can you give me like a spoiler? Like what?
Yeah, OpenAI, they got, I think, 5 different propaganda accounts and completely blocked it. There is a whole report that they did. It was quite an operation to do it. But it was a big story everywhere. So check it out for sure. I don't know what you want to know more about it, but I think it's good.
Yeah.
We're seeing, because we know there's a new propaganda campaign coming in from Russia, a big one, and I'm starting to see kind of the West, like something like ChatGPT doing, blocking propaganda, as well as we got the Clooney Foundation. They're going after the Russian propagandists, the big ones, and a few other big agencies are going after. So I'm glad to see that this is becoming in fruition finally. because
Yeah.
they've really done the damage.
Institute for
absolutely.
Institute for Study of Warfare actually commented on this, and they said that the propaganda disinformation campaign is going to be peaking in July. I mean, they're right now focusing heavily on trying to influence the support from the West, and that's where they're targeting
The
it.
European elections, yeah. And we've also
Yeah.
got the peace summit right now, and we've got things where we know Russia's trying to kind of delegitimize it and, you know, trying to dissuade people from going and so on. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say on the topic of propaganda, something I haven't looked into a whole, because I've looked a bit into domestic propaganda that the Russians use to strengthen their own support at home among those who are really, really brainwashed. I've looked into their propaganda to try to weaken Western support internationally. With the peace summit and with the question of Chinese neutrality, I haven't looked at propaganda aimed toward citizens of China. Or even if that's something that would be easy for them to breach, or if they would have to rely on the People's Republic to do that for them.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that would be tough because the Chinese government controls the flow of internet access.
Yeah, precisely. So I guess that would have to be a collaborative effort, which the Russians probably aren't used to doing as much. Yeah.
I thought it interesting. Institute for Study of Warfare also made this one comment. I want to read it verbatim from their recent report here, and it says, Putin's theory of victory hinges on a critical assumption that the West will abandon Ukraine to Russian victory, either on its own accord or in response to focused Russian efforts to persuade the West to do so. So that's the key here, is that they understand their victory rests on persuading Western governments to no longer support Ukraine. The fight on the battlefield, while important, is not the critical one. It's winning the hearts and minds of the West, politicians specifically.
Yeah, I would agree with that sentiment.
Yeah.
And I would say that not just with this war, but with any potential future conflict, that's probably
absolutely
a big part of their strategy.
Absolutely. Divide and conquer.
I can add something to this topic, because in Twitter, for example, we see a lot of propagandists, and basically Twitter turned into, you know, completely pro-Russian platform. You can see fucks like Khamenei there, and Khamenei bans Iranian people from having Twitter accounts. At the same time, he has a fucking Twitter account where he posts shit. But at the same time, a lot of propagandists activated. The most recent one that started like bugging me was Diana Panchenko.
And you're gonna say it.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Putin was a godfather of a daughter of a Ukrainian oligarch and mafioso, Medvedchuk, and he later was exchanged for Ukrainian soldiers. One Medvedchuk, I think, against like 100 or something like that. And Diana Panchenko worked for him. She was his like spokesperson. Now she, I believe that she ran to Russia-controlled territory. Of course, she says that like she resides in Dubai, but I believe that she's literally somewhere there in Russia. And what she does, she has a Twitter account with a Ukrainian flag, and she says, I don't want Ukrainians to die. I want to save them as much as possible from like Russian aggression, you know, because Ukrainians are dying and I want to save them. That's why we should remove current government. We should remove Zelensky, we should stop communicating with the West, and we gotta give up to not give up, but like become friends again with Russians. And she does it in such a cunning way, because like she has a Ukrainian flag in her name, like me, like I do on my channel, and she speaks on behalf of Ukrainians, like even though everybody understands that she doesn't run her channel herself. She has like an SMM manager who does it for her, provided by Kremlin, right? And I think she attempted to write several comments like herself, which was really cringy because she doesn't speak English well. But this is what works, because people from the West, they see like a beautiful woman with a Ukrainian flag, and they all start following her, and then she starts like throwing a lot of shit, and like, of course, us Ukrainians, we do understand such nuances, but a lot of people on the West, unfortunately, they don't. And she's not the only one. There's quite a few of those, and this is something I was talking about probably a month or 2 months ago, when I said that there's information that Russians will pump up their propaganda campaign. They're teaching, basically training new propagandists. They teach them how to create content. They teach them how to promote it and things like that. So soon we will face a lot of challenges in the area of the informational warfare.
So, Starsky, from the sound of it, and as we all know, unfortunately, one part of this war is many Ukrainians living under occupation, against their will, by the enemy. Do you think that there's a possibility of more propaganda like this, where you'll see people waving the national flag, the Ukrainian flag, and saying, come on, let's capitulate, let's become Vichy France, and just, a situation like that? You think that's something we'll see more of in the next 3 or 4 months?
It already happens. There's some footage like that. There's basically a lot of Russian fake, like staged videos like that. Different people saying that we should be friends with Russia and shit like that. Russians like to stage videos. I remember the one that gave me a lot of cringe was Ukrainian women, like kinda, right? Ukrainian women wearing Ukrainian pixel camouflage makeup that looked so fresh, as if it was done yesterday in like Moscow downtown, right? And they were sitting in a trench crying that they were being sent to Avdiivka, to the front line. I was like, oh my God. So they do a lot of that shit, and they will keep doing that. We will see a lot of such cringy videos. Like we cannot even imagine what they will be doing, but I'm sure that we will see a lot.
AI and deep fakes as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really bad at Photoshop.
Oh.
Yeah. Deepfake is being used a lot. There's already a lot of videos of different European politicians saying shit about Ukraine and stuff like that. And from what we can see, one of the features, one of the hints that this video is fake is usually 100,000 Russian media reposted. So first it gets, promoted and shared in the Russian media, and then it makes its way to the Western media. And then Westerners go like, oh, yeah, that shit is fake, because this is like the real video. This is like the deep fake video.
I would say just one word. And I know Olga will know it, and Slavi and Starsky, Erestovich. I would just say Erestovich. That's all you need to hear. And I showed some of his videos this week. I translated them for people to hear, where it's just pure evil. It's Kremlin rhetoric. It is from a guy who started the war as one of the top 3 faces of Ukraine, as the advisor, one of the advisors to the office of President Zelensky. For the first 6 to 9 months, he was doing his evening address, map analysis, having, I mean, very, very high level pro-Ukrainian. He is a Ukrainian. But now we basically see him for who he really is, which is a traitor and a Russian bot. And this is, so it's not just your Tucker Carlson's, and Starsky's 100% right. I tell people on my live every night, Monday through Friday or evening, if you're getting your information from Twitter, you need to reevaluate and make sure you're getting it from pure sources like the Shills. You've got a panel like this with a lot of expertise, and others, you know, a lot of our pro-Ukrainian
and different
YouTubers.
opinions.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
different
we literally have an owl here, guys. Owls are so wise.
Yeah.
We have an owl.
Yeah.
But the point being is, many times, you know, I appreciate Starsky telling that story there. But many times we look for this propaganda and these messages in the very obvious places. But guys, they're trying to do it in the not obvious places.
Yeah.
And that's the real danger there. The obvious ones, of course, they're so ignorant, you know, it's obvious. But where they try to play the game with those that have influence, whether on a political stage, whether it's a deep fake, whether it's reality, whether it's Hungary, through which we get a lot of mess coming. And listen, that's not about there's a lot of Hungarian citizens supporting Ukraine.
That's
I know
right.
what I've met with them in Washington, D.C., who are fighting against that Orban mess there. But the reality is, it's a lot of it out there. And I think that's one of the purposes that we all have, is to stand up and share truth.
Damn right.
And even if sometimes the truth hurts, because I am a full believer and I stand behind it. I've been bombed, I've been shelled, I've been droned, I've been shot at.
Yep.
I stand behind my belief that the truth is what will bring more support to Ukraine, not hopium. The truth is what will bring support to Ukraine.
Yeah.
So keep sharing truth.
Good call, man. Good call. We had a question here from the viewers, for Starsky, but we'll also put it around the table here. When the Ukrainians first began the big counteroffensive last spring, landmines were a major obstacle for advancing. What is the status of demining operations in this point?
Just a small fact. Currently, according to different data from the United Nations as well, Ukraine is the most mined country in the world. That's just so you could understand what we're dealing with.
And that's saying a lot, because we know there's quite a few places in the world that have serious issues with landmines, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Places like, I don't know, Vietnam, here in Germany, they still find landmines. But Ukraine is currently the most mined place on Earth, comparing to different places like Syria, Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan, of course. So this is what we're dealing with.
There have been some good guys out there like Harley EOD, and they're working on the demining. I've met a lot of these guys, and we've helped them, and we'll continue to help them. But Starsky's right. You're talking about a front line that's not just 1,000 kilometers long, but then you have to add into it the Sumy border with Russia, the Chernihiv border, and it's massive front line. And many people think that, okay, well, so these guys are like going out at night and slinging a few mines? No, that's not what they're doing at all. In fact, many times it's so dangerous because they will actually bring in artillery behind. And I know Starsky's in here, he knows much more than I do, but they're bringing in these capsule type missiles that'll land behind. And then when they land, they're actually not really detonating for a purpose. They're just releasing mines like crazy. So I can remember when we took Johnny Pierce to the front, and we were down there in the Donetsk region, and we took him. We didn't take Johnny all the way to the closest places, because if we needed to run, Johnny doesn't have the ability to run. Right. But we took him to some places that were quite hot, And we went to a couple of walks with Johnny, where we were behind the soldiers, and they would actually say, okay, you put your feet where my feet step.
Whoa, dude.
And oh yeah, that's the reality of it. And you ride down frontline roads where many of D-miners or maybe Ukrainian soldiers who are on rotation, they're on a 72-hour rest, and they start to go and they're doing some of that work, and they're actually marking the flags of where all the mines are. And you'll go down a section of road where the flags have been gone, it's been demined, but an overwhelming majority of frontline roads within 30 to 40 kilometers, and especially anywhere that Russia has occupied and Ukraine liberated, it is laden with mines. Even with the thousands and thousands and thousands that have been removed, it is extremely dangerous, and you have to be very careful where you place your feet. And one of the most important things is, like, when we stop and we're running the front and we stop, we never pull off the road. Never. You always stay on the pavement, and you get out, you do what you've got to do on the pavement. You never, like in Ukraine, in the middle of the night, we stop, run down the ditch and pee, right? That's what we used to do. Now you stop and pee in the road because you dare not step off that pavement. That's the reality of how dangerous it is, guys.
That's not a place to be drunk and foolish.
No, not at all.
I can confirm Greg's words, because that's exactly what we did even back in the days, because the territory was mined since 2014, actually. Mm-hmm. It's not like, those mines appeared out of nowhere in 2022, 23. This area was being mined. Those mines were being planted there since 2014 by both sides. There are places where we were operating during our Svetlodarsk campaign in 2017, where we also would not dare to turn from the paved road to bushes to take a leak, because nobody knows what's there. There could be booby traps, there could be mines, anything.
Oh, wait a second. Did you say take a leak?
Yeah.
I love your bald head. Come on, man. Perfect.
And corrupted him with American slang.
Live in the forest, howl with wolves. So it's 2019. Russians were shooting such mines at us. Right, this is POM2. So this mine is usually sent, delivered by RPG. So they attach this mine to the propeller, to the rocket, instead of the warhead, and they just shoot it towards our position. And when this mine lands, it opens up. It gets deployed, right? And it shoots those strings, like 4 strings in different directions. And those strings are basically detonators. So when it gets tripped, the mine explodes, and the amount of explosives that it contains is enough to kill a person. So they were shooting those mines at us back in 2019, 2020. A lot of civilian people, unfortunately, got harmed as well, because there was a case when local grandma, she had goats, and she brought her goats to a field to feed them, and they were feeding on the grass, and she tripped over she triggered such a mine that was delivered by Russians, and she died, unfortunately. There were a lot of cases like that.
I've met a lot of people on frontline villages that were formerly occupied, or even now closer to the front line, and it's typical when I'm in a small village that you will see farmers that have been wounded, a foot's gone, or broken leg, or they're walking on crutches, and you go ask them, say, hey, what happened? What's wrong? I stepped on a mine in the field 3 months ago and I'm recovering. In fact, many people on my program know Kirill. Kirill is the little boy that we support nonstop and down on the southern front area. And his father's a farmer. Within a couple 100 meters of Kirill's actual home, the land is still actually mined so heavily they can't farm it. But there's still a few kids there, so they have to be very, very, very careful. Every home in the village is damaged or destroyed. And I can tell you, his father, when I was there for Kirill's birthday party just a couple of months ago, his father came in for the birthday party. Really wonderful guy. It's on my channel and video for Kirill's birthday party. And his father said, "Man, I almost died today." I said, "What do you mean you almost died today?" He goes, "I was plowing and farming, and I rolled a mine over, and it did not go off."
Oh, man.
And it's everywhere, guys. It's everywhere.
That hits.
Yeah, on Donbass it happens a lot. I remember before the big invasion, like when you read the reports from OHCHR regarding civilian deaths in Donbass, like 2020, there's usually 21 civilians died a year, right? 21 civilians died, 25 civilians died every single year. And degenerates and Zedophiles that don't understand this, they go like, "Oh, Ukrainian army was bombing Donbass and shit. You read the report of the OHCHR, right, of the monitoring mission, and they clearly state that this person died because they found unexploded remnants of war. Those people died because they found a grenade and things like that." So a lot of those deaths, they are not related to direct combat whatsoever. They're related to remnants of war. Like landmines, like unexploded shells and things like that. And it was happening, it took place in Donbass between 2014 and 2022, before the full-scale invasion. After full-scale invasion, Russians brought hundreds of tons of landmines, unfortunately, and as Greg mentioned, they also use cluster cluster munitions launched by multiple launch rocket systems like Grad and Uragan, and those are specifically designed to deliver landmines. So there's different kinds of landmines. The most notorious one, I think, is so-called PATL, which is basically a copy paste of American landmine that looks like a butterfly. It falls down, activates. Usually, it self-destructs in like a couple of weeks. Sometimes it doesn't. But it's green. It's made of plastic almost completely, so it's very hard to detect with metal detectors. And when you step on it, of course, it won't kill you because the amount of explosives is not enough to kill a grown-up person, but it can remove human food, for example, completely. And of course, wounded soldier is a much bigger burden than dead soldier for the army, and like everybody knows that. That's why when we say dead, we say 200 because body in an airplane takes approximately 200 kilograms. And when we say wounded, we call wounded 300 because it's a person with different medical supplies and usually a nurse or something like that. So of course, Russians disseminated those landmines over the years, not just like anti-tank mines and anti-personnel mines, on the approach to their positions, but also plenty of mines that were shot and delivered to our positions and our like rear positions.
A couple months ago, we were dropping aid in Lvov, and the Lvov I'm talking about is right on the Dnipro River. It's basically right across the river from Krinky and Taginka. and there was 300 people trapped there. It's continually being shelled. It's within sniper range of Russian positions, and they are continually firing these capsule type munitions across there and just slinging mines out. So people are really trapped. Now people are gone from there, but at this time they were trying to hold on, but it just got too dangerous. And we went in and they were out of food, literally. So we went in with the military and dropped them enough food for a few weeks. And when we did, and we were going into the city in the little town, and we're right on the river, you know, you're making sure your cover's in place. And we went with military with us, in front of us, behind us. And when we came to this certain place in town, they said, whatever you do, do not get off the pavement here. Keep going, because we're all on radios. Keep going, keep going, keep going. We got to where we were dropping the food, had cover of a building, dropped all the food really quickly. The mayor was there, gave him a hug, and we rolled out because it was kind of like in between a rotational for shelling and artillery. So we had a little window there that was the safest. The drones were going overhead, and we come out and we get back to Taginka, and we're hanging out with our guys there. We're staying with them and we're talking with them. The next day, another aid organization went in to deliver more supplies, but they were operating independently as private and with well-meaning, intentional hearts, caring, loving. They got the permissions to get there, but they went alone. They had no intelligence. I mean, we were literally on the radios listening to the Russians. And when we were coming out, my buddy said, take the radio and talk to them in English, put up good American slang on it. And we're just having that kind of, you know, relationship. But
Awesome.
these guys went in the next day with very well intentions, just to drop some more aid. These were Ukrainian people. And they did not have the intelligence. They didn't have the military with them. They didn't know. And they pulled off the road right where the guys had told us, do not get off the road here. Their vehicle blew up and 3 of them were killed 24 hours later. It's brutally dangerous, guys, on the front. Brutally.
Wow. I want to give Raven in the chat credit there, because that question about landmines that sparked a whole bunch of
it was a really good
there.
show, man. I mean, really good conversation there.
Yeah, that was excellent. So let me run a couple of super chats out and we'll get back. We're doing really good with donations for Project Constantine's new fundraiser here, Project 22, I guess we'll call it, just to keep it short right now on the stream. And but I know we can even do more, fellow babies. Come on, come on, come on. So we got Just Me, new member as well, throwing in a super chat there. Starsky, please start making funny shorts again. I'll second that, man. I miss some of those skits and stuff, buddy. Those are good.
Okay, no problem.
All right. And we got Paul Gilbert coming in, guitar player from Mr. Big and Racer X. Para character doing the arms forward, raising the thumbs up. So here I'm acting out the super stickers again. I got to be the only one dumb enough to do this on YouTube. We've got Igor C comes in with a super chat. He says, I love Slavi. Beautiful. We got Demetrius Ziganovas coming in with a direct donation or a super chat. I'm not even sure what it was. Knowing Demetrius, it's a direct donation, and it simply says beer fundies. I love beer fundies. Thank you, Demetrius. He's a man after my own heart. I swear. I swear. We got Stationary Traveler. That's a username. Coming in with a $20 shout there. We got Putlario coming in with Peter Pavel. We've got Bob Doggy coming in. Stream Elements hates me, so I'm putting it here. Slava Ukraini. Heroum Slava. We've got Michael Michaels coming in. New Zealander shout out as well to Pete coming in from New Zealand. We got Ariel coming in again. maybe some dog food with a cool little smiley face. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Come on, you get the hearts up. There we go. And we've got Silver Earth, who is Silver Earth's the one that won the painting that's being sent to me for my background coming up here. It's one of the body paintings that was done in Ukraine, and it's gonna be awesome. Thank you so much, Silver Earth. Thank you all for supporting Ukraine. Slava Ukraini, Heroyam Slava. Oh, yeah. KP threw in a $10 one there. Let's see here. Please go to Zand Play Slavi's please go to and play Slavi's promo video to the show. Play it often. You know, we will show you in case you haven't seen it. I'm going to dial it up in the background here because, man, this girl knows what she's doing. You know, we've got the Wizard of Ooze coming in with a €5 or pound donation. Sorry. If you can't donate, support UA by boosting the algorithm for all platforms. Just autoplay it all in the background while you're sleeping and stuff. It's a really good shout. I'm not kidding at all, especially for creators that you want to see get a boost. Do that very much. So, Wizard of Ooze, I think you're going to get the Mario jump on that one. We've got Jeremy Coolbirth sent in a direct donation of like $28, and it's for the Boom Boom Fund. We've also got another one here. It's just Jimmy in the chat. He threw in a 20 shout, and it's for Pete and Project Constantine. We got Mike71 doing one of those buy me a coffee donations, and that's going to Project Constantine. We've got Hildegund Kulmo sent in nothing. Here, wait a second. Hildegund Kulmo has sent in nothing less than $145 for the Boom Boom Fund. Pat yourself on the back. Well done. Wow. And then we've got, that was for the Constantine Boom Boom Fund as well. There's the note. We've got Elaine Crossland throwing in $20. Please add this to the pot. Slava Ukraine. Heroyam Slava. We got, this is Baltar. By your command. For Project Constantine, $65 direct donation, nothing less. Then we got Leathercat coming in with a member message. Hey, how many paintings can we get to auction raffle off for Project Constantine? I have one. Let's get a few more people involved and away we go. I'll talk to you in the background, Leathercat. Let's get this wrapped up and going. Awesome idea. SSW Custom Sewing comes in. Can Ukrainian motorcycle enthusiasts come on the show? Well, absolutely. Anybody who's into two-wheel and four-wheel motorized fun is always good in my book. We've got Lynn Stefanition there coming in with a $30 direct donation for Project 22. Rose Rowley comes in with a super chat. Really good stream today, you guys. Thanks, Rose. Thank you very much. And Pat Chellen came in with...
She's South African.
Okay, so what's a ZAR for money? What's a ZA?
South African rand, but it's Zuid-Afrikaanse because for some reason we went with the Dutch.
Oh, okay.
For some reason.
That's weird. Maybe you guys all liked tulips back in the day. You know, could have been.
Well, we were a colony, so...
But there's South African rand. I love that rand, right? That's one of those cool words for money. And there's no less than 140 of them for Pete's new fundraiser. And then we got Jean-Marc Paganel who threw $22 into the hat as well. And I think I am caught up, am I?
If you are, I'm just going to say right quick, Yana, every time I see a website from South Africa, I get confused and think it's from Zambia.
Oh, that's funny. I almost caught up, but more came in, but I'm not organized and I'm not going to flutter through it. So where do we go from here? What do y'all think? Oh, my God.
Domain names are a weird thing.
Carry the conversation from there, Dick.
Yeah,
I can actually go from here.
Go.
Like, I had no idea that .rf was a domain name. like was a domain, and I found out it was.
Is that
very
stand for
short.
Russian fucks? Is that how that works?
It stands for Russian Federation or something like that.
No,
But
it's got to be
.org.
fucks. It's the only one that makes sense.
But there was one that stood. It was that, and it was for a
It
very
should
short
be.
time.
It should be .org.
I think that specific one was. I think it was that. Let me just double check. But there was one that they tried for a very short time in the Soviet Union, but it never took off. And then the Soviet Union ended, and it kind of like the thing never happened. So I'm not sure if it was .rf, or something else. But it was a really weird one. I was like, okay.
Oh, that's
But I'll
funny.
find out.
Yeah. I'm trying to get through some of these weird messages that I'm getting. That Ko-Fi coffee place really messes my head up. I don't know why, but it just happens. Go ahead, Secular.
Oh yeah, sorry. It is
I was gonna say, so they've
.asu is an actual .asu is an actual domain that was
It was
designated for
it
the
was
Soviet.
yeah, it was designed for the Soviet Union, but of course, because there was no internet in the Soviet Union, it never worked. But Russians still use it proudly. They still use it proudly, even though the Soviet Union, like everybody, understands that it was a piece of shit country. But Russians are so proud, and they still keep this domain for their websites.
We should now call .su Sovereign Ukraine and stuff it right up their asses.
And I mean, it was started on 19 September 1990. Union dissolved, and I'm like, really bad planning, guys.
Yeah. Wow. Maybe we can start an internet trend if there's any hacktivists out there of just find every .su website you can find and start hacking and putting up Sovereign Ukraine on everyone that you can find, because I've never seen that before in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we should establish one HRE for Holy Roman Empire. Just saying, we're going to go back in history and resurrect old countries and give them their own domain names. That seems fair.
You know what? There's FM radio. Maybe we need a .fm internet code for fuck Moscovia.
I love it.
Speaking of Holy Roman Empire, there's already a .biz, right? That I'm not sure some use it for like business, or even though it's not spelled this way. But there's quite a few websites like .biz, which is basically, people probably don't know it, but it belongs to Byzantium Empire that gave modern Ukraine Christianity more than 1,100 years ago.
Yeah.
Whenever I think of the Holy Roman Empire, I just remember an old history teacher who told me it was not holy, it was not Roman, and it was barely an empire.
All true.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a couple of questions I still wanted to get to as well. So Raven, again, thanks for the landmine one, because that was a real thing we went off on. That was great.
Yeah.
Ken Patterson had a comment. Operator Starsky needs to be a guest on Shark Week on Discovery. I love it. You know what? I'll give you the the Shark Week stinger for that. Here we go. We haven't used that in a while. But there was another one here for you, Starsky. Could Starsky say something about what the Ukrainian government is doing to ensure that they have electricity enough during winter?
Yeah, I already replied to this question in the chat, but for those who missed it, currently we are talking about diversification of our energy generation, and the government doing everything they can basically to make a lot of power producing facilities instead of having like 7 big ones that can be destroyed by Russian missile strikes. When we have hundreds of smaller stations, and basically it's power generators that can be used to produce electricity for critical infrastructure, industry, and civilians, then it will be much harder for Russians to target all of them for obvious reasons, which raises another important topic, actually. So I believe that after targeting Ukrainian power grid, Russians will concentrate on striking Ukrainian fuel storages, because this is something they did back in 2022, and it resulted in like almost catastrophic consequences. So there were huge queues at our gas stations, like kilometers of cars. Basically, this is something that can happen. That is the reason why I got myself a car that can consume petrol and gas at the same time. I'm talking about LPG, because if you have 3 types of fuel available, it's better to have a car that can handle, like, that can consume 2 of them at least. I believe that this is something we can expect in the nearest future after the waves of strikes on Ukrainian energy infrastructure end. They will be striking Ukrainian fuel storages, which again, it's impossible to cut Ukraine from European power grid for different reasons. Like, it's very, very hard. But at the same time, I'm not really sure about what is the percentage that the European Union covers in terms of energy requirements, energy demand. So it's a very, very hard topic. Winter in Ukraine will be very, very hard. Currently, Ukraine only generates 5% of its former capabilities. So we had a lot of power plants, hydroelectric power plants, nuclear power plants, and because one of them is captured and the rest are damaged to a different extent,
right?
It impossible to repair them by the end of the year. Reports of our Ministry of Energy Infrastructure, we will be having blackouts in Ukraine for the next 2 years. So 25, we will still have blackouts because at this current state, the power grid is damaged very, very bad. But our partners are bringing a lot of generators to Ukraine. Yes, there will be attempts to cover the needs of infrastructure, to make sure people have water, to make sure that hospitals. I can hear myself.
Yeah. Fixed. Okay,
should be good now. Wait a minute, maybe not.
No.
Okay, hold on.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
There we go. Let me just.
And now we're good. Okay, there we go. All good. All fixed.
Yep, we're all good now.
Yeah.
Great, because for a second I thought that I was like hearing voices in my head, which is bad. But that's. I hope it answers your question. And at this stage, situation with power is very, very bad. Despite I believe that had we had more anti-air missiles back then when we required them, there was a chance that we could protect our power grid, but again, because of this huge delay with weaponry, unfortunately, we were not able to defend our power generating facilities from the Russian missile strikes. Yes, a lot of Russian missiles were intercepted, but at the same time, they know the approximate index of intercepted missiles, which is approximately 75%. And they understand that several missiles are enough to, like, if several missiles penetrate the defense, they will be able to damage a given power generating facility. So this is exactly what happened today. I understand that during winter there will be again a lot of so-called invincibility points deployed all around Ukraine. Currently, there's probably a bit less than 10,000 of them are ready. I'm sure there will be more to make sure people don't freeze, because 2022/2023, when we had some very, very bad blackouts, from what I know, nobody froze to death because of those invincibility points. There's always electricity. There's always some kind of heater, hot tea, and things like that. And I even made a video from an invincibility point in Bucha last year. You may want to check it. But speaking of like residential houses and things like that, of course, it will barely save the situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Very much, very much. We've got here, I want to get one more of these questions in. We try to get a few in every time, but it's really hard to, properly keep up. There was one here. Okay, so I bet Commander McMillan, Greg, and a few of y'all are going to have something on this one. So this is just to the whole panel. Come at it as you want. What can the West do about the glide bomb issue? That's from Galadian.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not a whole hell of a lot. It really boils down to you need to take out the launching platform before the thing gets deployed, because the flight profile makes it really tough to engage the thing. Patriot, for example, can shoot it down, but it makes little sense to use $1 million missile to take out a glide bomb that costs less than $100,000.
Right.
Yeah, I completely agree with him. It's a big challenge. The other thing is, and Starsky was alluding to it, clearly on it. You will see probably every 3 to 4 days, 30 to 40 Shaheeds in the air and 5 or 6 cruise missiles. And the purpose of that is one strike. That's it. One by accident, one deflection. They just want to keep chipping away at the energy infrastructure. Additionally, they want to keep hitting the airbase and Constantine, because they have really good feeling that that's going to be very important in the future. I'm not so sure that's accurate, but let them keep firing at it. We have really good air defense. That's right up the road from where I live, actually, in Ukraine, when I'm there. So they have a lot of Shaheeds, and the glide bombs.
It's a matter of volume. Eventually, something's going to get through.
It's volume, and they don't care. All they want to do is continue to chip away. Starsky was sharing with you guys, and I know a lot of people in here watch Rick, and Rick's really struggling there in Kyiv with power. I can tell you in Khmelnytsky, Zhenya has power about 9 hours per day on a good day. That's it, guys. And it's tough. And when Denis Shmyhal came out yesterday, and as the Prime Minister of Ukraine, one of the greatest leadership moments in the war to this point was Schmiegel yesterday. He came out and he said, we will lead by example. All government offices, all infrastructural offices in the government will have no air conditioning this summer. And it's not that just we're requesting to turn them off. He said, and I translated it on the stream last night, we are sealing them because we want to lead by example, and we need to come together as Ukrainians. And it's not fair for us to tell homeowners in some city to not use your air conditioning, and we're running it in government offices. Not going to happen. So it's really good, but you can read between the lines a little bit. Power is an issue. So when you have glide bombs in the air, and I know that's the question, but it really all connects. You know, air F-16s or other equivalent airplanes that can keep the launchers of the glide bombs back at distance, because some of the longer range glide bombs have up to a 90-kilometer range. And that's very significant when they're running these planes over the front line or very close. So Ukraine's ability to strike now at launching platforms in at least the Belgorod Oblast, which I believe now all of Russia's the Belgorod Oblast, and Ukraine last night about 12:30 in the morning was renamed Kharkiv Oblast completely. So now we're good. It's one.
My map's out of date. It looks like everything is Belgorod.
It's one massive oblast named Kharkiv, and it's one massive oblast named Belgorod. So it's all gloves off. But in reality, Ukraine's doing as really a good as job as possible. I was about 200 meters a few months ago from a glide bomb going off.
Whoa.
And I'm going to tell you, it was the scariest I've been on the front line. It happened in Sumy region up near the border. And I was actually sitting there with a couple of guys, and I can tell you now they were a sniper and a spotter. And they actually called me and says, Greg, we want you to come tell our story. We're getting ready to have to rotate to a different position. And we've actually, neither one of us never been there, but we know you do a lot of work there. So can you show us pictures, tell us the terrain, what you've seen there. And then they said, we want to do an interview for you in English to help because we're leaving this location. So now, just maybe blur our face, but we'll talk completely. We want people to know the truth. And we had just started it, had the camera set up, and I was sitting there talking to them, and the earth shook, and it was instant. There was no air alarm. There was nothing. And I, for the first time ever, saw fear in a soldier's eyes. It was a reflection of the fear that was in my eyes. It was so powerful that we really thought, okay, we're in deep doo-doo right now. And all they said was leave everything and let's go. And we rolled out of that place and came back later and got our stuff. But that's the reality of it. But it's critical right now that anything possible to stop those glide bombs, increasing the air defense to stop the shaheeds. When you see guys on off days, and you'll get up and read your report, and you'll say, okay, well, there was 14 shaheeds running around, but it didn't do anything. We took them all out. Yeah, that's great news. But what those shaheeds typically are doing is just mapping. They're mapping for that third, fourth, or fifth day where they try to find a weak spot in the air defense. So increasing the air defense, getting airplanes there, and continuing to supply these heroes that are fighting in Ukraine. And I'm going to tell you, I know a lot of air defense guys. We've supplied them with a lot of blue lasers to help them in identification of especially shaheeds. They're amazing soldiers, smart, high tech. I've been on positions with the air defense. They are unbelievable guys. If we can just supply these guys nonstop, that will help.
I've got a question about the energy infrastructure, which I might have actually asked on a previous stream. If I did, somebody remind me. Do you guys think, as far as, I guess at the very least, the western part of Ukraine, western part of the country, there's any way Poland or Romania could be convinced to assist a little bit with providing some power from within their borders? Which I think the Russians would be less, would be a little more hesitant to directly strike. Any thoughts on that? Or it just doesn't seem like it's in the cards anytime soon?
It would help.
I don't know an answer for that. Maybe Starsky does.
Ukraine not into the European power grid?
Well, the fact is, Ukraine already connected to European power grid for several years already, and we do receive energy from the European Union. When Ukraine produced energy, when we were producing energy like in 2022, 2023, I was talking about last year as well, we were sharing our power. We were sharing energy with the European Union. Currently, the situation is reversed. We receive energy because we cannot produce enough energy ourselves. So it already works, and of course, it's very hard to destroy energy lines coming from the European Union to Ukraine because they are different type of targets for Russian missiles. Like when you destroy a line, when you cut a line, it can be like brought back easily. You know, it can be repaired easily. And then there's multiple lines coming to Ukraine. There's plenty of them. And of course, Russians will not strike the energy facilities on the territory of the European Union, except for when they can send their sabotage groups, like for example the one that was captured, I believe, only yesterday. There was a group captured in, oh my god, was it in Poland or in France? There was a dude from Donbass with Ukrainian and Russian citizenship. He was preparing a bomb in his hotel, and something detonated, and it, of course, attracted the law enforcement that busted his ass, and they found a lot of weapons and stuff for building bombs. So apparently he was preparing for terrorist attacks on the territory of the European Union. Could be related to energy production, could be related to weapon industry. But one way or another, Russians will find it quite hard to completely stop this energy from coming to Ukraine. The question is the amount of this electricity, because even though European Union produces a lot of energy, okay, but at the same time, it's barely enough. I would say it's really, really, really not enough to cover all the needs of Ukrainian industry, Ukrainian critical infrastructure, and of course Ukrainian citizens. Only because Ukraine is such a big country, guys. It's Europe's second largest country, so it's very, very big. There's a lot of people, a lot of different facilities and enterprises, and it's very, very hard to cover all the energy needs of Ukraine.
Yeah, I saw somebody else in there asking a supplemental question: does Ukraine do things to like protect the infrastructure they have already? And I can tell you 100% yes. And I'll give you one example. When you come across the Dnipro Dam, which is in Zaporizhia, and that's the one that's been struck recently, and that one is a major problem for Ukraine, and Russia is trying to really destroy it. The power generation is already, if not completely out, basically done. And it's a massive bridge there connecting the left and right bank there at the Dnipro. But when you come across the dam, there's the electrical substation from the power generation. And you come off the dam and you look down to your left and you see it, just like wherever you guys are watching from, and you see your little or large electrical substations where all the lines are then going out with all the metal things and all that. I looked down at it just a couple months ago, and I saw how Ukraine was protecting it. They had built literally a chain link fence up and then over top of it as much as they could still, so the lines could still get out, and everything was covered by sandbags and concrete. They were doing a 3-tiered protection system on that infrastructure, sandbags, concrete, and chain link fencing. The chain link fencing has stopped, shaheeds or something or debris falling into it. So they're doing the best they can, to be quite honest, in a lot of those places where it's vitally important to protect that, like substation pieces. It was amazing.
Does solar provide any kind of relief, or?
Oh,
I have seen massive solar farms. I won't say where they're at. I'm talking massive.
Yeah.
Massive. But yeah, it's some supplemental help, but even some of those have been now damaged.
Yeah.
And struck. And of course, you guys can go on Google Earth and find them. They're massive throughout Ukraine. But I'm not going to say where they're at. But yeah, they do have that. They do have that. But additionally, guys, down south, and I know in the east as well, but I don't know as much in the east, but for sure down south, all those fields, I've run all through those fields, because now the farmers, they're turned into roads for the military, and it's crazy. It's unbelievable riding through these farmers' fields and these dirt roads and positions and everything. What people don't understand many times is a lot of those large high voltage power lines are down, and the towers are destroyed and laying over. And due to the proximity of Russians' ability to strike across the river, they're not all repaired. They're not rebuilt. So you've lost a lot, especially in the south, in Mykolaiv, Kherson, and Zaporizhia. You've lost a lot of these high voltage lines. So Ukraine has to reroute electricity, and it's the chess game of managing their grid.
Right.
It's a challenge. It's extremely complicated. That's why I'm so happy. Sorry, Dick. That's why I'm so happy yesterday, because I love to give shout outs to Ukraine when they really lead by example. When Schmeigel came out yesterday, it doesn't matter your view of him politically, when the prime minister comes out and says, we're leading by example, nobody's using air conditioning in any government office. I said, you know what, man, that's how you do it. You lead by example.
Yeah.
So it's good.
I've got a situation brewing where my son, he's 17, he just had his wisdom teeth out, but he's on the autism spectrum, so he's kind of like 6 or 7 years old as well. He's about to be home, and I have to kick into comforting father mode very quickly. So I'm going to run through a few super chat shout-outs here real quick. They exist. Threw one in. Starsky shorts would catch on, I think, but got to be cargo style. That's a good one. Cats for Pete. Not much, but it helps. Every bit helps, man. JPH came in as a new member. Thank you very much. Random username, threw some into the pot. Need the money? Now you got it. All right. Jean-Marc Paganal came in. Dick, keep track of how much we've raised today. On it. I've got it mostly tallied up, but I won't be able to do the math right now. I'll do a community post after, because it's going to be tough. Maybe I can just chime in during the credits and do it. We'll see here. Raven came in with a super chat. Starsky, I want you to know I think of you every time I see Dr. Pepper. And then Thomas Men sent in a $71 direct donation for the Boom Boom Fund, which is Project Constantine today, everybody. So I am caught up. Let's do some quick goodbyes here. Starsky, what do you want to leave everybody with? What would you like to be your final thought?
I think that Dr. Pepper is much better than thinking of me every time you see Mr. Proper. But I would like to traditionally say big thanks to everybody who supports Ukraine, because this is the right thing to do. And guys, I was really, really happy to see you tonight. Hopefully we'll be seeing each other much more often after I solve all of my legal issues here. But because I have those too, unfortunately. Guys, we'll see you later, and as always, be safe.
Awesome. Secular Sakai, your turn there, buddy.
Yeah. Just want to say, great talk as usual. Always glad to be here on with the Shills and with everyone who comes to visit the channel. Keep standing with Ukraine. I know that sound like a broken record, and good. I hope I do sound like a broken record. That goes on repeat and gets stuck in your brain, and you never forget those words ever. But yeah, seriously, thank you everyone for continuing to be here, continuing to support. And at the grassroots level, what we're able to do as individuals and small groups, this is important. So we'll keep doing it, and we're going to try to snowball this, and we're going to get bigger support and more weapons, more everything to Ukraine.
Good call. Good call. And let's turn to our newest regular on the show. Slavi, what do you think?
There was a campaign that United 24 did, and it was something like, there's no wrong reason to support Ukraine. So if you support Ukraine, you're doing the right thing. So on that note, guys, please subscribe to my channel. I'm doing a lot of videos these days on propaganda. So yeah, and thank you so much for tuning in, everybody in the chat, everybody, and to the panel, of course. Thank you so much. Slava Ukraini.
Heroim Slava.
Good call. Let's turn to Commander McMillan next. What do you think, buddy?
Lots of very good discussions today. Had a interesting wide variety. That's the best thing I can say about it. So I was quite impressed. My usual closing message of please contact your elected officials and continue to urge them to support Ukraine. That's vitally important, as we know. So that's my closing message. Thanks.
Good shout. Good shout. And Yenna from Project Constantine. We're at 400 in direct donations so far. Plus, we have to tally up all the super chats and Ko-Fi. I hate that word things. But yeah, your turn.
Yeah. Thank you guys for always having me on and for supporting Project Constantine and for supporting Ukraine. You guys know I'm a tutor, right? So I'm going to give homework. So my homework is 15th and 16th of June is the Peace Summit in Switzerland. And we want world leaders to attend that. Okay. So just blow it up on social media.
Yeah.
Message your, as Commander said, contact your representatives, get people to go to that thing so that it's not seen as something small, because Russia is not allowed to go, or they said they won't go, if I'm correct. Greg might correct me later. And then China said, well, Russia's not going, so we're not going. And we just basically need countries to show up to that. Yeah, so that is it from me.
Awesome. Good shout. Good shout. We've got it at this point. YouTube's telling me we got a good $300 in super chats to send over as well. But I can never figure out if that's before they take their evil 30% cut or after. I don't really know. But AdSense payout is coming up on like the 22nd or whatever, so it won't be that long, and we'll have it all figured out.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Dick, do you remember when Google's old slogan used to be "Do no evil"?
Yeah, and that's all they do. Funny how that works, right? I love them to death, especially when they started taxing the payouts. That was great. That was great. I'm a Canadian, so tax me. Greg Terry, what do you think, buddy?
I think this was a phenomenal stream. I think we had very good conversations, observations, experiences, a wide variety of panelists here that are fantastic. So I just want to say thank you. Hope it was helpful for all the folks in here. Thank you for supporting today, Project Constantine and Project 22. It's going to be awesome. We really appreciate all of you guys. And I want to give a special shout out, two special shout outs here. First of all, Dick, shout out to you, buddy. You're always helping everybody. I saw you today helping Rick with his technology behind the scenes so he could do that birthday stream for Roman and Jake Bro. And so, you know, kudos to Dick. You do a really, really good job of supporting. You know, we've developed a pretty extensive family here of people and streamers who are like-minded. We don't have to agree on everything, but we agree on the main things, which is so important. And that's the beauty of it. And a lot of behind the scenes work, you know, people are messaging you that nobody ever in the world knows about. So kudos to you. Secondly, I'd like to give a public shout out to Yana. Yana is Project Constantine's brains. And
that's a
Pete,
sad thought.
I mean, Pete and Galena have brains, but you know, Yana's, and I know them all, so Yana's getting it done. But Yana is a huge help for me, and I know that Pete and I have really become brothers, and we do pretty much everything together. So maybe she feels that she wants to help me out because of that. But regardless of that, like. I waited months and months and months to start my Discord, and Yana built it. Yana takes care of everything, and she really is a hero for Ukraine out of South Africa there. And you talking about somebody that tirelessly works and has her own medical issues that she has to deal with, and still nonstop. So my closing words are thank you, Yana. Appreciate you.
Cool.
Oh, thanks.
Great shout.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Olga.
Yes. Well, that's who we turn to next. So what do you think?
First of all, thank you very much for having me here. It was a great pleasure to meet everyone in person as it could be, given the situation. And yeah, I would like to double on what Greg was saying about both Dick and Yana. You are phenomenal. And my mom always says, like, whatever doesn't kill us make us stronger, right? So basically keep helping each other to get stronger and keep helping Ukrainians to win, because that's the only way Ukraine can stay as it is, only by victory. So we have to aim for victory.
Good words. Good words.
What's up, Sam? One of my buddies is in here who's a big supporter. Nobody knows him, but he's there in Tennessee. He just said hello. So what's up, dude?
Cool.
Love you,
awesome. Man. So let's remind everybody of the two words that you always got to be keeping in your mind. Slava Ukraini. This, you've got to keep the conversation open with everybody. You've got to keep it in the minds. There's other things going on in the world, and sure, some of them are quite valid to be concerned over, but this is not a situation where everybody just, you know, is going at each other. This is one sovereign nation being invaded by a complete piece of shit leader, asshole, fuck. So,
actually, Dick swore very little tonight.
Yeah, I think that's the only time I swore. We might even
hang on, Dick. You have to understand. Sam, my buddy that I gave a shout out for, he's just a huge friend and a help, and loves Ukraine and all this. He just messaged me over here privately and goes, "Man, that Dick's a good dude." And now you hold on. And now you drop that. I'm waiting for the next test message. He go, "Wow, he's a professional cursor too." He knows what order to put the words in.
Don't hold back, Dick. Tell us all how you really feel.
You know, I try not to do it too much, but sometimes it just, you know, the filter fails and it slips out. So a big thanks to everybody here that joined us to be on the panel today. And a huge thanks to all of you out there for watching, liking, maybe subscribing, who knows, but for supporting Ukraine and doing what we all know is the right thing. They're the front line to the axis of evil right now. And if this isn't successful, if we all collectively don't help make sure that Ukraine wins all their sovereign lands back, this is just going to snowball worse. There's no option here. Ukraine must win. That's it.
Exactly. And guys, today it's Russia trying to take Ukraine. Tomorrow it might be Iran trying to take parts of the Middle East, China trying to take Taiwan. They all feel emboldened when they see one succeed. You can't let any of them give them an inch, they take a mile.
Just ask the Justice League. Never let the Legion of Doom get anywhere, right? So thanks, everybody. Slava Ukraini.
Guys.
Героям
Bye.
слава.
Героям слава.
Bye-bye.
Героям слава.
Thanks for joining us.
It's over. Go home. Go.